My beater grandma work wagon is getting some exhaust work. I'm taking out the, well, you'll see. I'm not gonna make it excessively loud or anything. Well, I am gonna make a video on an open turbo, and we're gonna see how loud it is. After this pipe gets moved out of the way, I'm gonna start it and take it on some test drives, and I'm just gonna let this turbo dump right out the back, and we're gonna see what it sounds like. But before I do that, we're going to fix this mid pipe because I had some busted studs under here. Let's just take a look. Still a mess. I'm cleaning all this stuff up today, but you know, I'm all over the place. I'm doing this, doing that. Cleaning tends to be my last priority whenever I'm trying to play around. Because I just keep on making more messes, you know what I'm saying? So I took this out, and of course, every single stud snapped clean off. You see that? Rusty, crusty studs. So I've shown this before, but that was whenever I first started making YouTube. I don't just pound these studs out. This is right on the flex pipe. Look, the this weaving right here that holds this flex pipe in is already coming apart, but the flex, that's pretty normal. But if you were to stress it even more by like hitting it with a hammer or something, you could destroy that flex pipe. I'm not trying to do that. So I'm gonna cut a slit in this and relieve that stud, and then it's just gonna fall right out. And then I'm gonna put a nut and a bolt through it. It'll be perfectly fine. But I got to thinking, you know what? This is the resonator. And a lot of times what I do on Audis is sometimes I straight pipe it all the way back to the factory mufflers. And it sounds pretty good that way, especially on turbo cars. Turbo cars are like a factory muffler to begin with. Turbos quiet things down quite a bit. That's why you hear all these chargers and stuff. The naturally aspirated stuff that's straight piped is way too loud. Turbos make things acceptable. You know, like on a turbo diesel or something, my turbo diesel, I don't want to admit too much, but it's just turbo. Let's just put it that way. Anyway, so instead of just chopping this off and making the pipe diagonal and then refitting it, because I'll do that. I'll put it on my lift and fix this exhaust. That'll be a different video. In this video, I'm gonna chop out those studs and show you how I do that. And then I'm just gonna chop this whole thing apart so we can see how restrictive this resonator is. So let's start with the front. This size right here would be much better to use, but I got a big fat grinding wheel on this one. I don't feel like switching out the wheels, so I'm just gonna use this big boy right here. And I also don't feel like mounting up the phone, so can you imagine? You're just gonna have to imagine. I'm just gonna take this grinder like this, and I'm just gonna go, and then sparks are gonna fly, and then there's gonna be a slot right there. Now you see I cut a slot almost all the way through these studs, but not through the actual flange. Now, if you have enough on the top, you could try to squeeze it from the top, but a lot of times you don't. A lot of times you have to get back here to the back side and set your vice grips correctly and see if you can't pinch this bolt from the back side. You have to get the perfect fitment here. Let's try it like this. It's still not right. How about right there? A little less. Come on now. Well, I think I see the problem right here. Let's move to this pair. We gotta get it set right. Okay, now I'm gonna need 2 hands. So you see that? I just crimped it down there and it squeezed that together. Now I wouldn't doubt if it would even come out just like this, but it might need a few more love taps. And ideally, I would hold this with one hand and then tap it with the other. Let's see. So, to be extra safe, now that you crimped it, you can regrind. So you can take just a little bit more of that sliver out. So I'm gonna do that right now. Now it should really be able to come out. So let me try this one more time like so. See how it crushed it together? Everything works much better with two hands. You see how I just closed up that gap, and then really it just pulls right out like that. You shouldn't have to use a hammer really at all, but if you hold one hand like this and then you tap it after you cut a slit in it, it's usually money. Now, is that gonna compromise the flange? Nah. You put nuts and bolts in that thing, be perfectly fine. Just clean off the residue first before you put the gasket back on, before you mount it back up. Now let's move on to this part right here. We're gonna cut this open and see what's inside this can. How restrictive is this? Now I cut all the way around the top shell. Is it gonna come right off easily, or is it gonna give me trouble where these welds are? Oh, I got a pry bar right here. Let's see what happens. Of course, I think it's welded right here, here, and there. I guess I have to chop around those maybe. So now I've chopped on the inside of those welds. Hopefully this lifts off now. I think it will. Now we're going to, where was that tool that was just in my hand? That's always the problem. See if this, oh yeah. Look at that, the inside of the resonator. We got some poodle hair in here. I'm gonna have to get you guys a better view out here in the full sunlight. So let's take out all this poodle hair. Man, it's a dead poodle. So what we have here, look at that. Boy, that's pretty restrictive actually now that I'm looking at it. I think I was wrong in a previous video. So it comes straight through there. Comes straight through there. And then it has to go through this baffle and all that poodle hair and somehow get through this restrictive part in here. Boy, that's a lot of wadding. Let's, this is all fiberglass stuff. I'm gonna be so itchy. You better like and subscribe for all the itching I'm gonna do. Yeah, let me see how, I gotta cut through this stuff. So there you have it, folks. It has to go through all that poodle hair and then this like even thicker walrus hair, and then it can go through the rest of the pipe. So there you go, folks. Hope you're happy.